In this video, I interview a gentleman by the name of Efaz, and he actually opened two care homes. One of them during the height and right at the beginning of COVID. And so I think that this video will definitely benefit everybody who is looking to start a residential assisted living, especially if you live in California. This will mainly pertain to you, but I think there's a lot of great lessons for anyone in general that he shares during his experience of opening up his home during COVID. So if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What's going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you have shown this channel. If you have not yet, feel free to go check out the God Made podcast, Legion Assisted Living Academy, and Legion Assisted Living Advisors in the links down below. Also, if you're interested in passively investing in real estate, especially residential assisted living, we have a couple of things that we're working on. So if you're interested, feel free to email me in the email down below. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. I would love to hear about you, your background, kind of the process of you starting your home, where it's located, and I'll put all the information in the description below for everybody to go check it out. But yeah, go ahead, Efaz. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the industry, and what you're currently doing now.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on your channel, first of all. I really appreciate the opportunity because I've obviously watched so many of your videos when I was starting out myself, to be honest. It will give you a lot of information. So I'll just take it from there. Personally, my name is Efaz, and I'm an administrator with United Senior Care Homes, LLC now. But before we got into this business or into the care home side to support our local seniors, we were in real estate. We usually flip homes and invest in real estate properties, and we have a mortgage company that we run. So long story short, we were trying to help the seniors in our local communities, finding ways to, provide care for them, which eventually led us to, opening up our own care homes. So what we did was back in 2019, we started our administrator classes. And by the way, I'm in California, so everybody who's watching from California, this should be helpful for you. So we signed up for our classes. We did our 80 hours of administrator classes. Me and my wife, we both did it. And from there, pretty much the next step was to actually buy a property that we can license to convert into a facility. And that itself is a very long process. I mean, there are a lot of things I wish I knew then as opposed to the way I know it now.
Give us some examples of that. What are some of those things that you wish you knew?
Like for me personally, I wish I knew how long the timing takes in general, the process of an initial application versus buying an existing care home and applying for that to be licensed under your name. So with the property you're seeing online, that's one of our properties. It's Sierra Residential Care. It's in Murrieta, California, and we bought this property right after coronavirus started. And the good thing was we got the property at a very good price. So we eventually ended up remodeling the whole property. And in the video, you'll see a lot of the features. And we have a room there, specifically the 6th room of the property. We built it from the ground up instead of turning a formal living room into a facility, which I will also show you in a later home that we purchased. So we built that. We did the bathrooms. It's a 6-bedroom facility. All of them are private. 3 of them have attached bathrooms, all roll-in shower, grab bars, and we did it in a way where you can actually hose down the entire bathroom. If that situation arises, and I'm sure it will. So we made it very friendly for the caregivers as much as for the residents, but the caregivers more because they're really, sweating their blood and sweating to all this, providing care for those people. So that was with that facility. Then we added more features. One of the things was with the fire inspections. You have to get a fire inspection done once your application gets approved. And that, they will come in and they will advise you on how, you can make this place more safer for seniors. One of the requirements, as many of you know, is they will ask you for a door in between, your kitchen and your hallways as a protection. And for us, that wasn't an option because the home was not going to look nice. So what we did was we installed a 20-minute fireproof door for each bedroom. And then each bedroom has its own exit that people can, use as a fire exit or hospice visits or even family visits now for, post-coronavirus. We can try that out. So those are the good features that that facility has, and it's brand new, licensed. The downfall of it is, with the time that goes, you have to bear the expense. That is very heavy. The mortgage, the bills, everything kind of weighs on you, which is where, I guess people should be thinking about it. Because if you rent a facility, like, obviously if you rent it, that expense is gone. That money is gone as a sunk cost. But if you finance the property, buy it, maybe you end up, salvaging the whole business from the sale of the real estate. So those are like certain things you can think of before, putting up your money as to how far you're going to really go with it, versus you can always buy an existing facility with a business in it, or the facility is up and running. And then maybe, the licensing people, they usually do it a lot faster from what I've seen in my experience.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So Sierra Vista, the location Murrieta, this was a home, this was a regular residential property. It wasn't an existing home before, correct?
Yes. It was a completely residential property.
So it was a regular residential property. You saw the potential. What did you do as far as when you were looking for a property? Did you check zoning first? Because I always get this question a lot because, and I always answer it to the best of my ability because that's what I always recommend is always check zoning.
It is important that you check it.
Okay,
Yes.
so you went ahead and you checked zoning first. Then from zoning, did you call fire?
Yes.
The fire department, and you said, hey, this is a home I'm looking to get to do.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, I did all that before even I considered buying this property.
Okay, so there you go. That should answer a lot of people's questions, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I always recommend people do.
Oh, make sure you definitely do that. You make sure, even the law says you can have a 6-bed facility anywhere without any zoning restrictions, but still call them, just so you know what their requirements are, because it can really vary from city to city.
So to kind of relay off of that, when you called fire, did you know ahead of time that you would need to have those fire exits already? Like you already factored that in as an expense, or you didn't?
No, I had that in mind before from reading their fire code. So I suggest you read the fire code of your county. That is very, very important. They often have the layout of multiple options of exits, however you want to design them. You have to keep certain things in mind. Like I asked them, hey, we're going to be keeping the elderly here, what kind of fire clearance do we need? Can you give us a guideline of what we want to do? And I told them that I wanted an exit with each door, and that can give you some serious perks. Like you can get the whole home cleared for 6 bedridden people, 6 hospice easily. Okay. Without those doors, you're probably not going to get all those options as much. You probably put a barrier.
So that's very important, is to make sure you clarify that. Another question I had, and I think a lot of people are probably wondering, so for administrator, what are the requirements here in California in order to get your administrator?
That's a very good one. For the administrator, first of all, you sign up. You have to do your 80 hours of class with a certified vendor or whoever. There are many people out there.
Is there any requirement to be able to apply? Like, do they require any form of previous experience, any form of previous requirements?
A lot of people have asked me that question, but I personally have not gone through that. But what I'll tell you is they will ask for your work experience. So just give your resume, and that should suffice.
Okay. So you give resume, you sign up. What is the cost to go through the 80 hours of the class?
The classes cost us somewhere around $550 per person. For us, me and my wife, we both will spend around $1,100 something. So it's around $500 to $600 for the classes.
Does that cover your state test?
No, the test is $100 extra. Well,
Okay.
they don't charge you for the test, but they charge you for the certificate to send it over to you.
Okay. So no charge for the test. How
No.
long is the test? So you do 80 hours, you complete that, you get that over,
Right.
and then the testing, is there a period of time that they require that you wait? What does that look like?
They have a 1 hour time to do the whole test,
Okay.
and they will give you a booklet like an MCQ. So this is where you need to strategize, because I always think a test is a game. You know, if you master it enough, or you know your content enough, then you will be able to breeze through that test. So it's a 1 hour test. They'll give you around, I forgot the exact number of questions, forgive me, but it's around 100 questions, I think.
Okay.
And you can get only 20, 30 of them wrong at tops.
So you have to
And
get a 70.
yeah, you have to at least get a 70 to pass it. And the other requirement is make sure when you're doing your classes, the instructor will give you a bunch of notes. Make sure you make those notes and you go over them all the time, because you're more likely going to be seeing them in the test. They will give you a little booklet, which is, at that point, it's an open book test. Never fall for that trick. Always memorize everything by heart. Everybody who falls for that trick ends up wasting a lot of time, because they're like written like in this much size of font. So good luck finding anything.
And you only have an
So
hour to take it.
and you only have an hour to take it.
So
Most of it is just really content.
that's where the booklet doesn't help, because
Yep.
you'll need
Yeah.
more
So
than
it
an
really
hour to.
doesn't help. You have to know it. And if you don't know something, for me, I always leave it and I circle back. Even in my own test, I did have to leave a couple of the questions out. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a genius. So I left something, and then I completed my test. I had like 5, 10 minutes left. I went back and finished the rest of it.
Okay.
So I think it's a pretty easy test as long as you are just reading through it. Make sure you read, and read before you do the test.
Were you required to get a CPR, first aid? Were you required
Yes.
to get all these? Okay.
Yeah.
Fingerprint
You
clearance. Do
have
you guys do
to.
that, or
Mhm.
background check?
Yes, we have to do so. After you do the test, if you pass it, they will send you another letter, and that will require you to do your live scan. You can do it at UPS or wherever they do it. And then you have to submit, let's see, a live scan, a health screening test, which is very important. Make sure you got your TB clearance for tuberculosis, and then, whatever the physician says. So there's a little form for that, LIC 503, I believe.
Okay.
Um, and make sure you get your LICs in place. There are a bunch of LICs, which are the forms, essentially.
What does
We
that
call
stand
them
for?
licensing forms. I don't know what it exactly stands
Okay.
for, but if you look up LIC anything, it's just gonna go to CCLD right away.
And
Um,
CCLD is what?
Community Care Licensing Division.
And that's where you
The-
can go and get your administrators?
yes, they have all the information listed there. These are the people actually, they will be servicing your whole application from Sacramento.
Okay.
So
The same
yeah,
for your licensing for your home, correct?
correct. Yes,
CCLD? Okay.
yes. They
And
do it
then,
from their central office.
okay. So you went ahead, you got your administrators, then you got the property?
Yes, when we were finishing up the test and everything, and we actually passed it, that's when we gained the confidence to buy the property. And at the same time, the properties, we were monitoring them for a long time. It's not like we found them overnight. We knew that we were going to buy them, but like I said, we were tracking them for a long time, and then we're like, oh, these are for really good prices. For that home, it was, I mean, on that street, these are all one-story homes. So it was
Okay.
very lucrative. Bought two on the same street on the first time, and then we bought this existing one.
Okay.
But out of the two from that street, from Sierra Grove, we converted one of them to the facility, and to give it a try. If it worked out, if it was working good for it, then we open up more, hopefully.
Okay, so what was the period? Okay, so you bought the home. What was so you remodeled it, you did what you had to do, because I'm not going to factor that in because that has
Right.
nothing. I mean, we'll factor in once the home was ready, okay, to get licensed and approved. What did that period look like?
Between the time where, from the application to the licensing point of licensing, this is what you're
Yes.
asking?
Yeah.
It's a very tough time in short.
How long did it take?
It took about almost close to a year, if like about 10 months approximately.
Was there a reason why it took that long? Looking back now, was there something that you could have done to expedite it? Was there something on your end that kind of held you guys up? What was the reasoning there that it's
That's a very, very good question that actually brings out a lot of things about the application itself.
okay?
So when we submitted our application, excuse me, just something got my eye. So when we submitted our application, what happened was they sent us a letter saying we accepted your application, but now you have to make these changes. And at that point, I was under the impression that it was a perfect application.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and emailed my LPA, my licensing program analyst, that hey, impossible. I can't deal with this much of time. Can you guys help me? What can I do? And they said only a perfect application, we can process it in 120 days. If you have so much as a slight error, it now starts to push back, and then now you go back and forth with them, you make the changes they want. And these changes can go as far as, making changes in your contract, or whatever they, want to make you feel like this is something they want to update or change in your documentation. You have to comply with that. If you don't, it just gets even more delayed. Because each time I remember they were trying to tell me something about my agreement and I was going to make that change. And it took me less than 5 minutes to make that change and send it over. It took them 2 weeks to reply. So you do the math, it takes a lot of time, even though, you're responding in a timely manner. So make sure you overnight your application. Don't just send it in regular mail. The faster to get it, the better it is for you. Because ultimately what will all entail is I cannot bear this financial load anymore. How long do you want me to do this? I have no residence, and the mortgage and everything, the pressure is building up, So that part is very, cumbersome on your mental health. So you have to really think.
So when you sent in your application, what else did you have to send in your application? Because you're mentioning documentation and policies and procedures, right?
Right.
So you send
So
that in. You send that in.
application.
You send it separately. It's a two-part thing.
Yeah.
Or
So it's
how
a
did that?
two-part application in a sense that, what do you mean? Like I said, send it separately.
So, like, did you send in the application first, and then they requested your documentation and your policies and
Yeah.
procedures, or you sent that together?
Oh no, you sent everything as a packet together. They
Okay.
take a look at the whole thing and then they start from there.
So, where did you get your documentation, and did you do it yourself? Did you hire a third party? How did you go about getting your
A
documentation?
lot of it I did myself, but there would be situations where, you might want some professional help if you're brand new. And this will really pay you off. I personally purchased a package.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that because I'll tell you why.
And did it pass with flying colors or no?
It helped me, yes. It did really help me get all my facilities licensed. It didn't pass with flying colors because, a perfect application would mean you save time. 120 days, your application is done. You're looking at getting licensed. But if you're not, getting that in that time frame, then you're probably not passing flying colors.
So, how much did you end up paying for that documentation, if you don't mind me asking?
It was expensive. It was expensive. It was around $800 something. I forgot the change, but it was around that ballpark.
Okay, and that was strictly just documentation, or in policies and procedures, or just policies and procedures?
That's everything.
That's everything.
Before I say this, let me just tell you this. When you look at the application process as a whole, and you can find this for California, LIC 281. Okay, it has all the list. Um, and Part A is just bunch of forms, your standard forms, your profit and loss statement. I'll talk about that. That is very important to keep in mind. And a bunch of other formalities, which you can do yourself without any hesitation. It's Part B that really gets into your skin. You have to have your policies in place. You have to have your dementia care in place. You have to have activities and all this, that are compliant with Title 22. So, you don't want to make a mistake there and then go into massive modifications. For me, why I say this, because when the LPA came at me, the modifications were very minor, like they were trivial, so at least that was the good side of it. But if you do it yourself and you mess up somewhere or make a major mistake, then, it might take a long time. And I wouldn't really risk that much of time. That's the number one. The second thing is, if you open that facility and you open another one, you photocopy that application, because now you're probably having a much more perfected application. But keep in mind, each LPA is very different, and they might end up requiring very different things from you.
Okay.
So there will be always a little bit of tweaking going on.
Yeah. So ultimately, it sounds like a lot more longer than here in Arizona. I mean, it sounds like you guys have
It is
a lot more,
it's crazy.
And that's the politics of having to deal with government officials, right? Of having to deal with licensing and everything, the zoning. Would you say the licensing was longer than the zoning process and the fire process?
Of course, very.
Yeah.
So the zoning process, personally, it's not going to be an issue. They're just going to tell you you only need a zoning when you're going to put in 7 people or more, because now you're looking at that property being marked or labeled as a commercial property.
Okay.
So if you're not going to do that, you don't have any zoning problems, unless you're going to end up building a whole room and you want a permit for that, And
So
that's just
really what it comes down is fire. Fire is going to be the one that, because
yeah.
you have to get the certificate of occupancy, right?
Yes.
From them.
Yep.
You submit
The
with
fire
them.
guys will come in and they will check in some things and make sure you have those things before you even buy the home. And this is where I think I can help. Make sure your front door and your back door, like the back entrance of the home, these are all 32 inches wide. If not, in California, they're gonna make you change them.
Okay.
We had to do it with one, and I was asking the fire guy, I'm like, hey, you guys cleared this home before, didn't you, in 2005? And he said, yeah. I'm like, then how come you give them a clearance with a door that's not 32 inches wide, and now you're making me do it? They're like, just do it. There's no explanation, nothing. It's just they came in and they're like, every once in a while we'll come in and we'll do our best. So I didn't argue much, because I felt like, it is for my own good at the end of the day. So yeah. I made the changes, and they'll look at your sprinkler system.
Did you have to have a sprinkler system in place?
Yes. So with Sierra, the home came with it. It's a new home, and the fire inspectors told us, hey, your home is fully equipped. All you need is just the doors if you want them, and the smoke alarms and the carbon alarms, right? That's it. But for my other home, they did make us put in extra fire sprinklers in the bathroom, because the bathroom apparently was more than 55 square foot. So I was like, okay, if you say so, I'll put it there. But there goes, there's some more money coming in, because these are compliance money, and you would probably not have foreseen them. I didn't foresee them. I thought, they're just gonna come and boom, boom, do the alarm, everything works, you're good to go. But no, he was very thorough, and he made me put additional fire sprinklers and all that stuff, including, widening the backyard door. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. I don't want to, hanky-panky with the licensing people.
Yep.
Because they don't clear you. Their recommendation is so important. You want to be nice to them, because these people will grant you the bedridden clearance you need. Okay. Yep. So make sure if you want your home to be 6 bedridden clearance, ask them what will get you to that place, and they'll probably show you a guideline that, okay, this is the maximum you can do or not. But if they say, two, then you get only two. So make sure you
Right.
have those numbers in mind when you're doing the application.
Awesome. So we'll wrap it up here. So any like
Yeah.
final, like go ahead and give kind of a quick breakdown what you recommend to people in California that are looking to start in California. Just a quick breakdown of your top 5 things that you want to make sure that they understand and that they get like the right
Right.
guidance. Like what are the top
For,
5 things, or just what you feel like is the most important thing
right.
if they're planning to get into this business here in California?
For me, I would just say make sure you do your research first. Know that you want to do this business, because once it starts, a lot of people, or even you might feel like, oh, this could be a lot for me. So make sure you have the passion for it. You know that this is something you want to get into. Once you did that, now it's time to get certified. So follow regulations. Do your research. Find a good vendor who will actually give you good information in a class. A lot of the times, it depends on what kind of instructors you're working with.
Where did you
Will
do
make
yours
it.
at? Where did you do yours,
I
administrator?
I did mine with RCFE Incorporated, a gentleman named Mr. Michael Gorian, and
Okay.
he's very good on the law side.
Okay.
He's very good on the law side, and for me, I learned a lot about just the law to the bones. But then, with him, that's the deal you're gonna get. You're gonna get the law. But as a businessman or as an administrator, you want to learn more of the managing aspects of it. How to really deal with the industry, and then the compliance aspect. And for that, I say that do your research. Make sure you know who you're doing your classes with, because you're gonna end up buying a lot of stuff from these people. Their admission agreements, licensing packages, other tools to help you, manage your facility on a daily basis.
Yep.
So do get those things. Don't, I guess, compromise on those little expenses, because they're investments for the future. Then make sure you do your real estate research, because that is a very important one. When I say real estate research, make sure you visit your local care homes, get a good idea of how other people are doing it. There's no shame in that. Just go and check it out. See if it's something you like, and it'll also give you an edge in when you are going to locate your property, and how you want to separate yourself in in terms of marketing your home, and the level of care you want to provide in your home. So I'm sure those are the things that are there. And then once you go through that process, comes the licensing. Make sure you know that what documentations are required. Go over them thoroughly. Keep a copy for yourself. And always be very good to your licensing people. A lot of people will tell you, and I'm not gonna say names, but a lot of people will tell you to be challenging your LPA. Never do that. They're your best friend. So and they are, they're just here to help you. So
Yeah.
keep clear communication with them. You will have very good status on your application. Believe me, you want to keep a track of how well your application is progressing, and you don't want to miss communication from that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so
So where
those are the
so where where's your current home at right now? Like where is it at? Like do you have residents? Do you have don't have residents? What does that
No,
look
I
like right
don't
now?
have residents now. So one of the things, and I think this is the most important thing, is start your research. I mean, when I say research, start your recruiting process to hire caregivers early. So you have this information from them, because there are a lot of training requirements that goes into it. And make sure you take your facility out there to these agencies. And these agencies cost a lot of money. They'll take 100% of whatever you charge them, and you pay it in two
Agencies,
installments.
agencies for what?
Senior care placements,
Okay, so you're talking about placement agencies.
placement agencies, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So
Okay.
you
Did
wanna
you
you wanna contact them.
did you host an open house or no?
I did not, because of the corona. I was pretty serious about that. But what we did was, we had some people come in from the real estate photography group. We hired them and they did this whole 3D eye guide of the home. They come in with their cameras and everything and they just walk around the home, and all of a sudden it's like Google Maps. You're inside the home, you can walk step by step. I send that out to people just to, help them out if their clients wanted to really see it at home first. But at the end of the day, it's about scheduling the tours and bringing the clients in. So I do that on a daily basis now, depending on how much this referral agencies are sending my way. But I'm also in the process of starting my own marketing process to, at least put myself out there and see if I can get some clients on my own. At the end of the day, it will help you out in terms of your finances a lot because
Yeah.
the agents charge crazy money.
Yep.
So those are some challenges that you want to think about prior to actually getting into the business. And these informations are readily available online. And I really think they should be watching a lot of your videos too. Some of them have a lot of information. And I honestly built up a lot of those, research and everything from watching your videos and some of the other people that put out their stuff, because it is so hard to find content in this industry.
Yep.
And which is why I really appreciate this opportunity to actually talk to people about my experience, and what it was like for me. It's
Yep.
not so easy, but it's not so, um, you know it's not too bad either. Eventually it will take off, and if you have a nice facility, you keep it clean, you have good caregivers, you're going to get filled up pretty quickly.
For
It's
sure.
just a matter of getting those tours coming in and making a good assessment.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, I really appreciate you coming on here and taking the time out of your busy day and being able to
Absolutely.
share your information with other people who will have interest there in California. At the end of the day, if I can use my platform to help you, help others, and like you said, get
Right.
more information out there to others who I think will benefit them, I will have you send me links to the things that you mentioned earlier in the video
Okay.
with this, what'd you say, the CCDL, right? And
CCLD.
CCLD, all
Mhm.
those types of links. If you want to send them over to me, I'll put them in the
Yeah,
description for
I have
everybody in
all
California.
those good information, including, let me tell you something more about this. When you hire people, make why I say the hiring part is so important is because you have to associate yourself and your staff to CCLD. So they have now moved the process online, which is now called the Guardian. So it's a process. It's not like you can hire somebody today and they can start working. No, it really doesn't work that way. You have to do the due diligence before they can start working with your residents. So
Yep.
keep that in mind. That will really be helpful for anybody.
Yep. And so that's something I think will help a lot of people as well as far as the staffing goes, especially here in
Right.
California. They're a lot more strict than I mean, Arizona's pretty strict as far as what they require our caregivers to have, uh,
Right.
as far as certification, everything that they need to make sure that you do your due diligence as the manager or the administrator, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones being around your residents the most and
Right.
taking care of them, right? So you don't want to just have anybody off the street taking care of your residents, right?
Right.
So
Right. Medication and so many things involved.
absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces, and at the end of the day, any business, your weakest link is what's going to take you down. And I believe in this
Exactly.
industry, it's caregivers. That's if
Right.
that link ain't strong and it's not, you don't have the proper staffing in place, it'll be the one thing that takes you down. So, I mean, you hear
Right.
stories all the time now in nursing homes, residential care homes, all types of healthcare,
Yeah, I
folks.
personally had some experiences like you were
I
talking
bet, I
about.
bet. So, we'll definitely have to hear about those at some point. And I've had
Yep,
them
we
too.
will.
I mean, I've had them too. And so it's very crucial and very important. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I really do appreciate you coming on here. And I'll put all your information down below too. That
Sure,
way,
absolutely.
your website, that way, anybody that does watch it, placement agents, whoever, even
Right.
people who want to come check out your home, if they're looking to potentially start their own, and you can kind of give them a piece of advice or even give them a tour of your home. I
Sure,
think
I
at
would
the end of
love
the
to
day,
help.
yeah, and I think at the end of the day, if people are willing to do that and be willing to share information, life as hard as it is already,
you know,
It
and
is.
it's like, why not be a helping hand to
I'm
other
not gonna
people?
lie, sir, because okay, let me just get down to something very personal, okay? So for us, we were having a dinner conversation with a geriatric specialist, okay? He was advising us about the demand in this sector, the not the real estate, but the care side of it, and
Mhm.
he was telling us that every day 7 care home needs to be added to the list. And from
Wow.
there, we met some more people who own these facilities. And just like you were saying now, we went to these people like, hey, would you like to guide us? And, can we take a look at your facility? And they're very kind people, and they let it take a look at their facility, meet their residents. And they even gave us a sample application packet, and which is where a lot of people can, you know, actually take a look and feel what and how big the application packet is and what goes into it. So I feel like they helped me out a lot and throughout my whole journey, I had so many questions about the regulations. What happens if this happens? What happens if the guy falls? What happens if such and such, regulations get violated? And he was there to guide me through the process. And his name is Mr. Roshan Ahmed. He is in San Diego with his own care home.
Well,
And
shout out to Rashid Amin.
yeah, he very nice guy, and
Yep.
he definitely helped me out. So I am definitely here for any one of you guys who want more information about how to get your care home started in California. And I think I can definitely help out on that side of it. I'm still learning.
Absolutely.
I
Yep.
will always be learning, each facility is different. As you will buy, your situation will get different for the viewers, but don't get frustrated. It all works out at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's not
Always be willing to learn. I'm learning from you. You're learning from me. Everybody learns
right.
together, right? And I think at the end of the day, that's what's important. Never feel like you know everything, because once you do, that's when
Right.
things start
It's
going
it's
south
such
really
a
quickly.
it's such a niche industry, and I feel like it's one of those places where, the idea of welcomingness is more because, the whole idea is to just care for one group of people, which is the senior population of our country. So in that side, if you unite yourself, it just becomes that much better. You get to know administrators, placement agents. Make sure you get to know some nurses, in case you want them to have your facility, what you want them to visit your facility, have
Yep.
that, service extended to your clients. There's so many things you can do. It's just build that good network is I think the best way to thrive in any industry, let alone just this one. So anybody needs help, information with their application, I'm always here.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. If you haven't, go watch all these other videos up here. Feel free to go check out all the links down below to Legion Assisted Living Academy, Legion Assisted Living Advisors, the God Made podcast, and everything else that I offer will be in the links down below, including Efaz's information. And so thank you again for everything, and I will talk to you all in the next video. God bless.